Welcome back. This is Steph from Cold-Blooded Freaks, and in today's episode, we are talking about two of the most popular pet geckos that you can buy. Let's get to those geckos. We are talking about leopard geckos and crested geckos. Now, both of these types of geckos are two of the most popular first-time pets for reptile keepers. So we're going to be comparing the two of them so that you guys can pick which one you think is the best first-time pet. First and foremost, we are talking about handleability. So as a leopard gecko, you can definitely hold these guys and you can hang out with them. I actually have a leopard gecko that I have posted on here a few times called Meathead. He is quite old, but he is extremely handleable, and I have been handling him with small children. I've had him outside. I've had him hang out on the couch with me and watch TV, and he is just super calm and a very neat little guy. With crested geckos, you can have pretty much the same experience as well. As long as you handle them, they can be a little bit jumpy, but they are still very handleable and you can hang out with them. They just require a little bit of time. Moving on to potential cons between the two. So with leopard geckos and crested geckos, both of them can drop their tails. Crested geckos are more likely to drop their tails for less stressful events than a leopard gecko. Leopard geckos really need something stressful or something to almost fall or latch onto their tail for them to drop their tail. A crested gecko, I feel like the wind could blow the wrong way and some of them drop their tail. But depends on the animal, depends on the animal's stress level, and also depends on if they're potentially cohabitating, because sometimes if you are cohabitating them and you have a male and a female together, that male might end up scaring or stressing the female out and she might drop her tail. So something to consider is that if you do get a crested gecko, they might not hold on to their tail for the entirety of their life. Well, a leopard gecko, even if it does lose its tail, which is again pretty rare for them, it will regenerate it. Crested geckos do not regenerate their tail. Once they lose it, it's gone. All you get is this little tiny nub at the back end of their butt. And then beautiful leopard geckos like to grow this really fat, not necessarily the same as their first tail, if you will, but it's this fat, squishy, little fun little tail that I absolutely love. Meathead has a regenerated tail, and I think it's cute, and I love to squish it as much as he hates when I do it. Next up about these two is extreme differences, and this is their enclosures. So this is going to be specifically up to what you're looking for in a reptile. Do you want a reptile that's in, say, a max 20-gallon tank with more of a desert vibe to it? You're going to have maybe a heat pad, maybe a low heat lamp if necessary, and then maybe a UVB bulb, again, if necessary, for a leopard gecko. Or do you want it a planted terrarium where you can have fake plants, you can have real plants, you can have a whole ecosystem within that little enclosure that you have for your crested gecko? Both of these options can lead to very unique looking enclosures for you. So it depends on what you're looking for. I personally love planted and live aquariums where you can have a whole ecosystem, you can have the bioactive substrate and everything like that, but there is actually bioactive substrates for more of the desert dwelling animals such as leopard geckos. You can also have planted, or even some people I see do these beautiful enclosures for leopard geckos where they actually have foam that they glue or adhere back to the back side of the enclosure, and they cut out these beautiful shelves and caves and everything like that. Absolutely stunning looking enclosures. And then you have on the other end the beautiful, stunning, fully planted, whether it's fake or real, enclosures for the crested geckos. With that said, we're moving on to their lighting needs or heat needs. Crested geckos are quite simple when it comes to how their enclosure is set up. Especially if you have a fully planted enclosure, you will definitely need a UVB light, but you don't need heat. Unless you live in extremely cold climates and your house is crazy cold, room temperature for these guys is totally fine, and they do just great in a room temperature enclosure. Leopard geckos, on the other hand, need a little heat assistance. I would say that minimally you need at least a heat pad, and I would recommend a UVB light. It's debatable. Some people say they don't need it, and that's fine. I have a UVB light on mine and a heat pad, and he does fantastic. Next up, we are talking about their diets. So crested geckos are a New Caledonia species of gecko, so they absolutely love Pangea, or what I call goo, and they eat it very willingly with no issues, and they have multiple different kinds of flavors that you can get. And the best part about it is that you can get different flavors and keep it in your freezer in the powder form to keep it fresher longer, and you can reconstitute it with water, and you want to change that about once every other day for them. So not crazy maintenance for their feeding, and you don't have to bring any bugs or anything into your house. So always a great plus for someone that may have a set of parents that might not want bugs in their house, or someone that's getting a first reptile and they're not really fans of bugs themselves. Crested geckos or New Caledonia species are perfect for people like that. Leopard geckos, on the other hand, do require some bugs. All bugs, pretty much. I feed my guy crickets, superworms, waxworms, dubia roaches, even fresh pinkies sometimes, just for that extra bit of fat content, but they do require a mixed bag of bugs. You can just give them just crickets. You can just give them just superworms. I like to give my guy a mixed diet because I have the availability to do so. But I don't necessarily recommend any of the prepared food for leopard geckos because I just don't see them do as well. Fresh food, fresh bugs, and insects is the staple of their diet, and I think it is super important to give them that option. So if bugs are something that skeeve you out or someone in your household out, leopard geckos would be a negative when it comes to the food. Also, with leopard geckos, you do want to give a vitamin supplement of calcium. This is good for not having metabolic bone disease and stuff like that. And with the crested geckos, all their vitamins are already mixed in with their prepackaged food that you get from Pangea. So you do need a little bit more for the leopard gecko side of things when it comes to their feeding options, where crested geckos, you can have just different types, different flavors of Pangea, and you can get small bags depending on which one your crested gecko likes the most. And finally, I love all the different color mutations that you can get in the leopard geckos and the crested geckos. I find it super interesting depending on what you're looking for. You can get a crested gecko that looks kind of like a tiger. You can get a leopard gecko that is pure jet black, or you can get a bright orange one. The colors are just endless, and the availability of both of these animals is very abundant. You can go to your local pet store and probably find both today, but I do see a higher amount of very, very small leopard geckos available, and I do see a smaller amount of small crested geckos available. If you are looking for a first-time gecko for yourself, one of the biggest things I would recommend, honestly, is don't go to your local pet store looking for a little tiny baby of each one of these. I would try to get one that is well established, possibly a breeder if you can reach out to one, and get one that's well started, because some of these guys don't do well. They stress out, and if it is your first reptile, you want to try and make it the most positive experience that you possibly can, and getting one that is well established and healthy is a better choice than getting one that is a newborn baby that might require a little bit more help. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. In the comments below, please let me know what you guys think of what you would pick for your first time gecko. And let me know in the comments if one of these was your first time gecko. Statistically speaking, they say leopard geckos are the more popular pick, but crested geckos are not far behind. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.